What I'd like to do is just go through community policing, or as we call it in South Australia Police now, crime prevention. What I want to go through today is just have a look at the structure, illustrate the structure of our community policing or crime prevention sections, have a look at the philosophy, and have a look at some of the outcomes and what we actually do for children. What I want to do is just, some of you may not be able to see it, but this morning I just prepared an illustration of the structure of our community policing section. Up at the top here we've got our State Crime Prevention Branch, which is centrally located in Adelaide. And then we've got 13 local service areas right across the state. This is one local service area here. These are each of the functional areas of a local service area. And you can see down here, one of those functional areas is crime prevention section. So each local service area has a dedicated group of people towards community policing or crime prevention. South Australian Police has a proud history of community policing or crime prevention, mainly because we realise that without community confidence, and that's bridging the gap between the community and the police, without bridging that gap, we might as well pack up and go home. We can't do our job, because we need the trust and the confidence of the community for them to be able to come to us with information so that we can go and solve crimes. The purpose of the South Australia Police is about 6 purposes. One of those is to prevent crime, and crime prevention works by changing a combination of environmental, social, related factors that all influence crime. So what we're saying there, it is a proactive approach versus a reactive approach. Back 2 years ago, South Australia Police implemented a crime prevention strategy which aligns with our South Australian strategic plan, which the government have initiated and provided benchmarks or KPIs for all government agencies. It also links in with our corporate business plan, which is about working together to develop and enhance partnerships with the community. So we ask ourselves, what is crime prevention? Crime flourishes in an environment where antisocial and criminal behaviour is tolerated, and again, as we've discussed over the last couple of days, and particularly on last Thursday and Friday, early intervention, which requires critical thinking or problem solving, is a key strategy towards reducing crime and also alleviating the involvement of youth in criminal behaviour. With South Australian Police, we have our crime prevention intervention model, which addresses the key areas of attitude, ability and opportunity. And we believe that if we can actually address those particular issues through early intervention, we're going to have a positive impact on crime overall. Some of our crime prevention enablers, which are the things that actually make us address those those things that I just spoke about, include problem solving, which, as I said before, involves critical thinking, looking at the issues in a systematic, holistic fashion that provide options and give us the ability to evaluate and do some group work. Another enabler is early intervention and program delivery, which I'll address a little bit later, but it also includes some of those proactive strategies like we have Watch SA, blue light discos and police diversion program. Now, I know we're under a little bit of time pressure here, so what I'll do, I'll just skip a couple and I'll just go on to engineering, educating and enforcement. Now, there are 3 areas we really need to address if we're trying to address any particular problems. Now, I'll give you some examples with some of the way that we've addressed some of the problems using engineering, education and enforcement, particularly with young children in South Australia. Before, up until about 2 weeks ago, I was in the Adelaide CBD as an operations manager. We had a particular problem with shop theft with juveniles. Now, Bobby's just brought that up. It's a similar issue in Singapore. But what we did, we worked through our problem-solving approach, which has got the acronyms of TARGET, which starts with timely and accurate information and goes right into gathering feedback and evaluation. But what we did, we actually brainstormed going through step by step this critical thinking process, and we actually come up with some really good strategies, which was identifying the shops where the shop theft commonly occurred, the particular areas in the shop. Now, surprisingly enough, it was cosmetics and women's lingerie. And what we did, that actually indicated to us where we should put some of their resources. So what we did, went to those shops in those particular areas and then provided them further advice on how to reduce crime. And that might include location of their cash registers and things like that. Another initiative was out in country areas. We have rodeos. We have a few of those a year where people ride horses and cows and so forth. Now that attracts a lot of people, and also with that people have to travel a long way, and that can include people drinking and driving. So as an initiative to try and reduce that, particularly because we get a lot of kids that go to do that, we have voluntary breath testing of kids before they actually jump into cars, and we also encourage them to stay overnight, so they take their swags or sleeping bags, sleep out under the stars because they've had a lot to drink, and then we give them free breakfast, and then we put them on the breathalyzer before they go home. All right, that was just another initiative from some critical thinking or problem solving that we did for children. And also, when I was in Adelaide, we prepared a presentation for international students. South Australia has a strong push and attraction for a lot of international students, especially throughout Asia. They come to universities in Adelaide, and we've done a presentation for all the international students to tell them what policing is in the state that they're staying in temporarily, and what they can expect when they speak to a police officer, and some basic rules. There's some of the things that we've done across country and metropolitan areas for some of our youth. So here we see about 1/3 of all our crime is committed by young people. Now, I'm not sure whether that's the same in Hong Kong, but that is certainly an over-representation of the small cohort of people that are certainly under 18 years of age. What I want to do is just address some of our diversionary processes that we do have. We have a Juvenile Justice System, which means that in the first instance, if a child under 18 is caught or detected for a minor offence, they can be informally cautioned, which means they don't have to go to court. A police officer just speaks to them, indicates what they've done wrong, and this is the first and last chance that they may have. If they do the same thing again, they'll have to go to court. Alternatively, they can have a formal caution, which means that the police officer and the parents of the child sit down, talk about the issues, make sure that they understand. If that's satisfied, they don't go to court, again for a minor offence. Something a little bit more serious, or if they've been through this process before, we have what we call a family conference, which is where another opportunity for the police officer, the victims of the crime, the parents and any other support agency sit down around a table, discuss the issues, and if we're confident that there's going to be no repeat, that's the end of the matter. There may be some undertakings, and those undertakings may be non-associations if there's co-offenders involved, or there could be curfews or some work towards the victim. Of course, the last step is the youth court, where the youth does not admit the offence, or if it's more of an aggravated nature of the offence. So this is a diversionary system that we do have that seems to operate pretty well, because the level of recidivism of kids that have gone through this process is a lot less than what it has been before. Just some of the other proactive strategies that we do have for children. They involve blue light disco, which are discos that are held throughout the state, organised by police officers. There's discos occurring all the time throughout South Australia in metropolitan and country locations. So the police officers organise the entertainment. It's no alcohol, of course. It starts around 7 o'clock, may go to 11 o'clock. There's transport provided away from the venue. Once kids are inside, it's a lockdown situation. Only if their parents arrive can they leave, before 11 o'clock. And it is a good opportunity for the police to push, their messages towards the youth, because we've got a captive audience, and also make sure that we're actually bridging that gap and increasing the confidence that they have in the police at a young age, because we can never forget that the youth today are going to be tomorrow's leaders. We also engage in sport. There's a lot of sporting programs that the police do have that are organised and systematic throughout the year with youth. We also have 2 camps in South Australia, both in country locations, and there we promote team building. We don't necessarily have people jumping off of poles that are 10 metres high, like we did last Monday morning to team build. But what we do is have similar concepts that we do to engage the youths, and these are some of the youths that have been through the Juvenile Justice System, not necessarily got the message in the first instant, but they could be troubled youths. So we take them away to try and get between their ears and in a more holistic way trying to get them to see where they should be going in life. So we've got 2 of those camps, and we have groups of people that are not necessarily police that come along and run these camps, which may go for 3 to 7 days. We also take these youths out into the outback and run similar camps. There has been some, correlation between what we do and some boot camps. It's not the strength of a boot camp, but it's sort of run along, similar philosophies. So I guess my message today is that what we do for crime prevention or community policing is not just down to crime prevention sections, but it is the responsibility of all police. We've got a program that has been conducted over 15 or 20 years. It involves giving them a chance. If they don't comply and don't take advantage of that chance, they go to court. And we also have really good early intervention strategies, such as the ones that I've just outlined, that we think may sway a lot of kids from actually committing crime in the future, but also importantly engaging with the police, because as tomorrow's community members, we need to have the confidence that they will approach us with information and concerns. So I guess that's it from a presentation point of view.